The twin suns of Aurelia hung low, casting molten light over the Colosseum's jagged towers. The arena floor, a basin of scorched alloy and ancient blood, sizzled under the oppressive heat. Thousands of voices thundered from the stands, not in unison, but in a chaotic mix of dialects, laughter, and animalistic cries. Across the rounded expanse, jagged gates creaked open with the mechanical finality of a death sentence. From the shadows emerged a lone figure, tall, lean, and unmistakably alien. Her skin shimmered like burnished copper, etched with faint, bioluminescent patterns that pulsed gently as she moved. Golden eyes scanned the arena not with fear, but with calculation. Her armor, though elegant and ceremonial in design, bore the scars of real battle. Across her chest, in bold block script, glowed the word, Defender. The crowd jeered. To them, she was a novelty, a predator in the wrong ecosystem. The defending champion of the third ring, a non-native, genetically pure outsider, in a blood sport dominated by engineered monstrosities. Her name was Zara, though few knew it. Even fewer cared. She didn't look up at the audience. Her gaze stayed fixed on the gate opposite hers. The air quivered with pressure. Then the gate exploded outward. The beast that stepped through was not born. It was built. 9 feet of rippling black muscle, a hybrid of apex predators harvested from dying worlds. Its skin was lined with red, molten veins, as if its own blood were too hot for its body to contain. Jaws cracked open, revealing too many teeth. It roared, and the audience roared with it. Zara took one silent step forward. Her tail, long and tapered, braced instinctively behind her. Every bone in her body screamed to run, but her heart, steady and proud, commanded her to stand. She had trained for this her entire life. Not to win, to survive. The beast charged. The ground shook. Zara moved. She twisted beneath its first lunge, her body a blur of grace and discipline. Her blades, twin crescent daggers forged from her homeland's sacred ore, met flesh and sparked. The creature howled but did not fall. It turned faster than expected, its claws slicing a shallow gash across her shoulder. Pain lanced through her, hot and immediate. No room for mistakes. She danced back, repositioned. The beast charged again. This time, she didn't dodge. She met it head-on, leaping high and twisting midair to land on its back. Her daggers sank deep between vertebrae. The creature shrieked and bucked wildly. For a heartbeat, the crowd went quiet. But Zara was no fool. This was not the kill. It was too soon. The beast slammed into the ground, crushing her beneath it. Gasps, screams, then silence. Dust clouded the arena, and even the high-born sponsors leaned forward in their private boxes, eager for a corpse. A twitch, then another. The beast lifted itself slowly, panting and bleeding. Underneath, buried beneath its mass, a sliver of movement. Zara rolled out, dragging herself free, bloody but not broken. Her armor was cracked, her arm limp, but she still had her daggers, and her will. The audience didn't cheer. It murmured. Doubt was creeping in. From one of the observation decks, a figure watched without joining the crowd's frenzy. He wore no insignia, carried no recording device. Just a simple vest, tactical pants, and a scar running from his temple to jawline, a mark of survival, not decoration. His name was Jace Marin, and he hadn't planned to be here. He'd come to Aurelia on a trade escort, a simple job, easy pay. But the moment he stepped off the transport and saw the massive holoscreen replaying arena kills like sports highlights, something twisted in his gut. Now, watching her, he felt again. That pull. Zara rose to one knee, chest heaving, one eye swollen nearly shut. Across from her, the beast snarled and paced. It was tiring, but not nearly enough. Her chances of surviving the next exchange were slim. She knew it. The beast knew it. So did the crowd. Still, she rose. No words. No battle cry. Just silent defiance. The beast charged. This time, she wasn't fast enough. It barreled into her, claws slamming her to the ground. The impact knocked her weapons loose. She scrambled to roll, but its weight bore down on her. A clawed hand crushed her chest plate, forcing air from her lungs. It reared back, ready to strike the killing blow. And then, a blur. Someone leapt from the stands. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Drones swiveled midair to follow. Jace hit the ground with the precision of a soldier. He rolled, drew a sidearm from his thigh holster, and fired 3 rapid shots into the creature's side. It bellowed in rage and turned toward him. Zara, stunned, blinked up through a haze of pain. Jace didn't speak. He moved. As the beast lunged, he ducked, slid beneath it, and kicked up her daggers toward her. She caught them on instinct. The sight of the weapons in her hands snapped her back into motion. They moved together now. The human drew the beast's attention with bursts of fire and feints. Zara struck from the blind angles, slicing tendons and joints. They didn't speak, but they didn't need to. It was like they had trained for this moment without ever meeting. For the first time in hours, the arena wasn't filled with cheering. It was silent, watching. Jace reloaded. Zara staggered. The beast was still standing, furious and wounded, but less precise now, off balance. They had a chance, not to win, but to change the rules. Above them, the announcer's voice stuttered in disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. No one had ever interfered with a sanctioned bout and lived. But no one like Jace had ever cared to try. He glanced at her once. Just once. She met his gaze. There was no need to ask why. Then, together, they faced the beast and charged. The last of the echoes died in the arena's towering walls, but Jace's pulse still thundered in his ears. Dust clung to his skin, sweat mixed with grit beneath his vest, and the stink of scorched flesh hung heavy in the air. The beast lay convulsing a few paces away, blood pooling beneath it in dark, viscous streams. It wasn't dead, but it was down. For now, Zara stood across from him, legs shaking beneath her, blades wet with gore. Her chest rose and fell with ragged breaths, one arm cradled against her ribs. Her eyes, golden and feral, never left him. Jace holstered his weapon slowly, palms open to show he wasn't a threat. Not yet. You okay? She didn't answer, just studied him, reading his posture, his scent, the rhythm of his breath. When she finally spoke, her voice was low and rasped, but strong. You shouldn't be here. He managed a grim smile. Yeah, well, I get that a lot. A siren blared overhead. Not loud, not immediate, but distant and rising. Warning tones. Security drones buzzed like wasps to the arena's rim, scanning the situation with flashing optics. They hadn't intervened yet, unsure whether the interference was sanctioned, or perhaps merely stunned by the break in routine. A single human disrupting a match was unthinkable. Jace knew that pause wouldn't last. He crossed the distance between them in a few strides and dropped to one knee beside the creature. He retrieved a small, blinking disc from his belt, pressed it to the beast's heaving flank, and stepped back. The discus latched and began to pulse red. Zara's eyes narrowed. What did you do? Stun charge. Military grade. Should keep it down another 5 minutes. She said nothing, just stared, as if weighing the weight of his presence. Jace turned to her, more serious now. Listen, I don't know who you are or how you ended up in this ring, but they weren't going to let you walk out of here. I couldn't just sit there. Her expression shifted. Not gratitude, not quite suspicion either. Then why did you? That was the question, wasn't it? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked up toward the towering wall of spectators. Aliens of every shape and status now leaning forward in confusion, curiosity, and rage. Above them, the arena lords would already be whispering commands, debating protocol, preparing to reassert control. I've seen too many people die like you were about to, he said finally. Used up, thrown out, called entertainment. She tilted her head slightly. You're not from here. Not even close. The first security drone dipped lower, weapon stowed but tracking. Zara hissed under her breath and staggered forward a step. Her balance faltered, and Jace caught her arm before she collapsed. Easy, he murmured. She pulled away instantly, pride stiffening her spine. I don't need saving. Good, he said, because I'm not here to save you. I'm here to fight beside you. A sharp trill sliced through the air. The arena floor trembled beneath their feet. From hidden hatches along the perimeter, new defense constructs rose. Spherical machines with rotating guns and humming power cores. The show was over. Now came the reckoning. Zara's blades were back in her hands, though she could barely keep them steady. Jace drew his second pistol. "We run," he said. She didn't argue, not with words. But she shifted her stance, nodded once, and bolted when he did. They moved as if they'd been trained together. Down one of the arena's maintenance tunnels, half concealed in rubble from the beast's earlier rampage. Jace ducked just before a stun bolt sizzled past his head, and Zara leapt over a low pipe, kicking off the wall to land ahead of him. Her wound slowed her, but she was still faster than any human should have been. Behind them, the drone shrieked warnings in 3 languages, then opened fire. They turned corner after corner in the understructure, where darkness ruled and heat rose in suffocating waves. The roar of the crowd became muffled. Jace keyed a control chip in his wrist, and a faint blue light blinked on, guiding them deeper into the maze. He'd spent 2 nights studying the arena schematics while waiting on cargo clearance. He hadn't planned to use them, but plans never lasted long around him. Zara stumbled again. This time, she didn't catch herself. Jace reached her before she could fall hard, easing her down beside a leaking coolant pipe. Her skin burned against his palm. She was overheating, losing blood. Her breathing was shallow. "Rest here. Just a minute," he said. She tried to argue, but words failed her. Her lips moved without sound. He pulled a stem from his belt pouch and cracked it. "Hold still." She bared her teeth. "Don't touch me." "Fine," he muttered. "Administer yourself." He handed her the vial. She hesitated, then jammed it into her thigh. The effect was near instant. Her pupils narrowed, her posture straightened, and color returned to her cheeks. "Better? Enough." She looked at him again, this time longer, more carefully. "Jace," she said, testing the name from his combat tag. "You risked your life for me. I've risked it for less. You'll be hunted now. They don't forgive this kind of defiance. I've been hunted before." The stem had calmed her breathing, but her voice still carried something else, something not dulled by pain. "You're different." He leaned back against the wall, heart still racing. "You don't know me. I know enough. No one jumps into the pit for someone they've never met." He didn't argue that. Couldn't. A distant explosion echoed from above, likely the stun charge finally detonating. The beast would be waking up soon, and so would the full might of the arena's security forces. Zara stood again, slower this time, but steady. "Where does the tunnel lead?" "Storage levels. There's a hangar beyond that. If we're lucky, we find a ship. If we're not, we die together," she finished. He gave her a half-smile. "Yeah, that." She didn't smile back, but her eyes, intense and searching, softened just a fraction. "Then let's keep moving." They ran again, slower, quieter now. No longer just 2 strangers fleeing death, but 2 warriors bound by a single decision that neither could undo. Behind them, the system they defied began to recalibrate, to adjust, to hunt. But ahead, just beyond the next bulkhead, there was movement. Light. A door sliding open on slow, mechanical rails. Jace raised his weapon, but Zara reached out and stopped him. "Wait." A figure stepped into the light. Armored. Armed. Another defender? Zara tensed. Jace's grip tightened. And then the figure stepped aside, revealing a corridor beyond. A path. Zara whispered, almost to herself. "There are others." Jace didn't ask who. They ran toward the light. The corridor beyond the armored figure was narrow, dimly lit, and smelled of engine coolant and burned plasma. Every surface bore scars, scorch marks, claw gouges, remnant of past battles or desperate escapes. Jace moved first, his weapon low but ready, sweeping the corridor with practiced precision. Zara followed, her balance improving with each step, the effects of the stim coursing through her veins. The figure behind them said nothing, simply falling into pace, a silent shadow whose presence pulsed with tension. They emerged into a secondary hangar, much smaller than Jace had hoped, but not empty. 3 vessels sat in varying states of disrepair, none of them flight-ready at a glance. A pair of engineers, both Lardhan, identifiable by their triple-jointed limbs and translucent skin, froze at the sight of the armed trio. One bolted instantly. The other stood transfixed, a plasma wrench trembling in one hand. "Hey!" Jace barked. "We're not here to kill anyone. We just need a ship." The Lardhan made a strangled chirp, but didn't run. Zara stepped forward, lowering her blades. "Which of these flies?" The Lardhan blinked all three eyes in sequence. "That one, maybe. Short jumps only. Shielding's patchy. Drive is functional, if you don't mind heat." Jace grinned despite himself. "We've flown worse." The armored figure finally spoke, voice modulated through a helmet filter. "We leave now. Pursuit is already inbound." Zara turned to him. "You never said your name." The figure hesitated. "Kale." It didn't sound like a lie, but it didn't sound like the truth either. They moved quickly. Kale took the lead, disabling security nodes as they went. Jace helped the Lardhan stow tools and power the ship, an old Raptor-class courier vessel with more rust than paint. Zara climbed into the cockpit and surveyed the controls. She traced the glyphs with sharp fingers, murmuring under her breath. The ship responded with a low hum and a flicker of power. "She knows this tech," Jace noted. Kale didn't look up. She was bred for it. Zara glanced over her shoulder, eyes narrowing. "I was bred for nothing." Kale didn't reply. Jace strapped him beside her as the vessel groaned to life. "Think she'll hold?" "She'll fly," Zara said, voice tight. "For how long depends on how angry they are." The hangar bay doors began to part just as the klaxon sounded, deep, pulsing tones that rattled the ship's hull. "Too late," Kale said. "Then we punch through," Jace replied. Zara didn't wait for approval. She throttled the engines, and the ship roared forward, rattling hard against its limits. Behind them, the hangar lit up with plasma fire. Drones streaked in through secondary entrances, firing indiscriminately. The Lardhan engineers ducked for cover. One of the side thrusters buckled, but the ship surged forward anyway. The doors hadn't fully opened. Jace braced, teeth clenched. "We're not going to..." They did. Barely. The vessel screamed into open sky, scraping the edge of the frame, leaving a shower of sparks in its wake. For a moment, the stars stretched wide and full before them, cold and vast. Then the targeting locks pinged. 2 Interceptor-class hunters were already on their tail. "Shields!" Jace asked. "Thin," Zara muttered. "Won't take direct hits." Kale climbed into the gunner's rig and fired without a word. The first burst clipped one hunter's wing, sending it spiraling. "Hyperdrive." Jace called. Zara shook her head. "Not charged. We need a miracle." Kale didn't stop firing. "We need a distraction." Zara banked hard, dipping the ship low into gravity well of a nearby moon. The remaining hunter followed, its cannons blazing. A shot clipped their wing. Warning sirens flared. Jace grabbed the manual controls, steadied the pitch. "Can you die beneath the thermosphere?" Zara's lips curled. "Can you keep us from burning?" He grinned. "Let's find out." The ship plunged, streaking through the moon's thin atmospheric layer. The hull began to glow red. Chunks of plating ripped free. The hunter closed distance, not expecting the maneuver, but unwilling to break off. Kale's targeting system locked. "Now." Zara banked left. Kale fired. The blast didn't hit the hunter directly. It struck the vapor pocket left by their heat trail. The resulting explosion rocked both ships, but only one recovered. The hunter spun, caught flame, and detonated. Silence reigned in the cockpit. Alarms still blared. The ship groaned, shuddered, but held. Jace let out a breath. Well, that wasn't boring. Zara allowed herself the faintest of smiles. "We're not safe yet." "No," Kale agreed, "but we have time." They broke free of the moon's gravity and drifted into open space. The damaged drive stuttered, then resumed a slow, steady hum. Zara began rerouting power, stabilizing what systems she could. Kale stood by the airlock, silent and still. Jay sat back, adrenaline fading. "All right, time to talk. Who the hell are you really?" Kale didn't move. "I was part of the arena." Enforcer class. Until I wasn't. You defected? Zara asked, eyes narrowing. I saw what it does, what it takes, and what it wastes. Jace shook his head. You saved us. But why? Kale finally turned. Because she isn't just a fighter. She's a message. Zara stiffened. Don't make me into something I'm not. You already are. The ship's lights flickered. Zara rose, moving to the NAV console. We need a safe harbor. This won't last. Jace joined her. There's a salvage colony 2 jumps from here. They don't ask questions, and they owe me. Kale didn't object. As coordinates were entered, Zara paused. Her fingers hovered above the console. Jace noticed. Something wrong. She looked at him. Then Kale, this isn't over. You both know that. They'll come, Kale said simply. Harder. Smarter. Next time we won't get lucky. Jace leaned in, voice low. Then we make our own luck. Outside the viewport, the stars shifted, cold, vast, endless. Within the battered ship, 3 fugitives sat together. Not allies, not yet friends, but something was building, something unspoken. And far behind them, the arena fumed. The salvage colony drifted in the shadow of a dead gas giant. Its skeletal towers fused from wrecked cruisers and ancient mining rigs. It wasn't marked on any official chart, and didn't need to be. Everyone who needed it knew where to look. From orbit, it looked abandoned, forgotten. But deep in its rusted bones, life clung like fungus in the dark. Jace's knuckles whitened on the flight stick as the Raptor-class ship drifted in on failing thrusters. Every console flickered. The heat exchangers hissed erratically. Beneath his seat, something sparked and died with a faint puff of smoke. They're not answering hails, Zara said beside him, frowning at the comm array. They will, he said. Just wait. Sure enough, a few seconds later, the console chirped. A grainy voice, metallic and laced with suspicion, filled the cabin. Unidentified vessel. This is ambush station. Declare cargo and intent. Jace leaned in. Cargo, none. Intent, repairs and low-profile passage. Tell Razel that Jace Wren is calling in the favor. He's been ducking for 2 years. There was silence. Zara and Kale exchanged glances. The voice returned, colder now. Docking port 6. One wrong move, and you'll be slagged before you touch the pad. The connection cut. Kale didn't move from his post near the airlock. Your friend sounds trustworthy. He's not, Jace admitted, but he hates owing people more than he likes betraying them. Zara's eyes narrowed. Let's hope that's enough. The ship docked with a painful metallic grind. The interior pressurization hissed and groaned in protest. When the bay doors opened, a wave of heat and ozone washed over them, followed by the pungent stench of oil, metal, and unwashed bodies. Razel was waiting with 4 guards, all armed. He was shorter than Jace remembered, but no less dangerous. His cybernetic jaw clicked softly as he spoke. Well, Razel said, you really do know how to pick your moments, Wren. Wouldn't be me if I didn't, Jace replied. Razel's gaze slid past him, locking on Zara. His lips twisted into something between a smirk and a sneer. That her? The pit fighter who survived Carthos. Zara's hands twitched near her belt. Jace stepped slightly in front of her. We need repairs. And a place to disappear for a while. Razel's smile never reached his eyes. Disappearing costs more than it used to. You still run the back channel to the narrow drift? Jace asked. Razel tilted his head. Maybe. You offering a trade? Information, Jace said, and something more valuable. He reached into his coat, slowly, and pulled out a data prism. This contains access logs, arena financials, and trade manifests, all tagged to Arena Lord Balex's private ledger. Razel blinked. Once, twice, then took the prism with reverent care. Well now, that's the kind of leverage that buys more than just repairs. We want to disappear, Kale said quietly, and we want to choose where we go next. Razel looked between them. 3 fugitives, 1 hacked ship, and a target on your back's the size of a moon, and you think you get to choose? Zara stepped forward. Her voice was ice. We're not asking. Razel met her gaze and flinched, just slightly. Then he nodded. All right, Dock 6 is yours. You'll get patched up and restocked. But you're not staying long. The arena sends feelers through here. I won't risk a sweep. Jace nodded. We won't stay longer than needed. They followed Razel's crew into the docking spine. As the door shut behind them, Zara leaned close to Jace. He knew my name, she said. He knows everyone's name, Jace replied. That's how he survives. Kale brought up the rear, silent as always, but his hand never drifted far from his sidearm. The repair bay was dim and full of noise, welding torches, plasma saws, and the rumble of power cells being replaced. A mechanic approached their ship and whistled low. This thing made it out of Carthos? I'm impressed. Patch it, Jay said. Make it ugly, make it run. He turned back to Zara and Kale. We've got maybe 12 hours before Razel starts calculating who might pay more for us than what we're worth to him. We need to figure out what comes next. Kale finally spoke. We don't run forever. Zara nodded. They'll find us, no matter where we go. Jay sighed. Then we hit back. Both looked at him. You said it yourself, he continued. She's not just a fighter. She's a symbol. They tried to execute her for amusement, and she survived. That spreads fear and hope. Kale crossed his arms. You want to make her a banner. I want to make her a choice, Jay said, for the ones still trapped, for the ones fighting and dying for nothing. Zara didn't speak immediately. Her gaze drifted to the massive viewport overlooking the scrap fields. Ships lay broken and abandoned, dreams once sleek and full of purpose, now rusting in silence. Finally, she turned. What would we need? Contacts, Kale said. Safe channels. Weapons. Voices, Jace added. People willing to listen, to fight. Zara's eyes hardened. Then we find them. Later, in the shadows of maintenance loft, Kale stood alone, watching the stars. Jace joined him quietly. You didn't have to follow us, you know. Kale didn't turn. I know. Then why did you? Kale hesitated. Because I used to be what hunted her. I need to become what protects her now. Jace looked away, surprised by the sincerity. You're not bad at it. Kale let out a quiet breath. Let's hope it's enough. Elsewhere, in the quiet confines of the ship's battered cockpit, Zara sat alone. The control console hummed under her fingertips, old and flickering, but familiar. She traced the outlines of alien symbols once etched into her dreams and nightmares alike. She thought of the pit, of the blood, of the moment she thought it would end, and the moment it didn't. She thought of Jace, of Kale, of a ship held together with welds and grit, now flying through a galaxy that wanted them dead. And she made a choice. When Jace returned, she was waiting. We fight, she said simply. He didn't smile. Not this time. He just nodded. Beyond the colony, beyond the dead planet, beyond the arena's grasping reach, stars waited. And somewhere among them, the beginning of something new flickered into life.